Welcome into another edition of Talkin Ducks. A lot to get to this week. We'll get a chance to talk some hoops a little bit later, both men's and women's teams in their respective NIT tournaments. We'll also have an interview with Kelly Graves, and then we go one-on-one with Oregon offensive lineman Marcus Harper II. You certainly don't want to miss this. The young man's got one of the more electric personalities on this Oregon team. But let's go ahead and get started with our opening drive, brought to you by Les Schwab Tire Centers, where they've been doing the right thing since 1952. And let's bring the crew into the huddle here. Joey Harrington, Anthony Newman, and from the Oregonian, Aaron Fentress. And fellas, it's that time of year. Well, maybe it is for you guys as far as spring getting here eventually. And of course, spring football just around the corner for the Oregon Ducks. And you've got some consistency at the head coaching position at the quarterback spot. But a lot of questions, a lot of storylines. And so, Joey, let's start with you. What are you most curious about, or what do you think is the biggest story for Oregon football this spring?
Well, you asked two different questions there. What is the biggest storyline, and what am I most curious about?
You can't give him multiple questions at once.
You know that, like
Joey.
What is your biggest storyline?
Quarterback. He was a one-read quarterback.
So here, no. Here
they
you go.
send him two plays in the huddle.
Here you go.
They'll give him two
What am I
plays. If
most
they give you this coverage, you go there.
What am I most curious about? I'm most curious to see who the second receiver is going to be. I'm most curious to see who that number two guy is, right? You got your number one, you got your tight end. Who's going to be that number two? Who's going to be in the slot? Who's going to take Chase Cota's spot? I think the most important thing for Oregon football is to shore up that offensive line. You lose 4 starters, right? You bring back wide receiver, you bring back tight end, you bring back multiple running backs, you bring back a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback. Who's going to be up front? How are they going to protect Bo? How are they going to open holes for those running backs? Like, this is, and the interesting thing though is, like, that's, I don't know how people run practices now, right? But there's a little bit of, like, not wanting to get injured in the spring. Like, are you really going full? Like, how are they evaluating and making sure, or I guess figuring out who those other 4 guys are going to be that are going to be playing up front?
All right, Anthony, I'm going to give
that
you
was
the same
short,
two-part
Aaron. Come
question
on.
here. What are you most curious about, and what do you think is the biggest storyline for Oregon football this spring?
Jordan, I hate to do this to you. I don't look at storylines, but I know, you're on TV. I need to talk about storylines. I'm an ex-player. It's all about fundamentals. There's no storyline. You have a new coaching staff. You haven't been there a year, but they're still new. You have new players coming in, so you have to build that rapport during spring ball. You have to understand fundamentals and techniques, because schemes, it don't matter if you can't catch the football. It doesn't matter if you can't tackle somebody. And so those are really important during the spring ball, and then staying healthy. And then Joey said it. It depends on what type of spring ball they're running. Is it a physical spring ball, and then the starters are kind of sitting out? It's for the young guys, or is it a physical spring ball that everybody's about to get busy? You don't know yet. Yeah, and so a lot of veterans, they don't like spring ball. It's like, wait, there's no game in sight, and I don't want to get hurt. I want to play the season. So you, as a coach, you got to deal with that kind of stuff. If there's a storyline, to me, can the coaches build a trust? Can the coaches build a rapport with the kids so they're all on the same page? Because again, that coaching staff was brand new last year.
Took him a while to get to a storyline after.
Yeah, there we go. It always gets you.
I was like, God, that's boring.
All right, Aaron, what are you curious about and biggest storyline for Oregon football?
I want to hear tales about a fierce pass rush being developed. They had 21 sacks 2 years ago with Kayvon. I was told they were going to improve the sack total just on scheme alone because they were bringing in Dan Lanning, but they went down in sacks to 18, and you lose DJ Johnson, who had 6 of them. Now, you brought in Birch from South Carolina to try and help the cause. You hope Dorless makes a step. But look, this conference, as we've talked about, is now loaded at quarterback, right? So almost everyone seems to have a guy you better fear every Saturday. So if you can't apply pressure, it's not even always about sacks. Of course, it can be just about pressure, but you want to have some sack totals. You don't want to be ranked, wait, hold on. 123rd in the nation last year in total sacks. You don't want to be down there. You want to be somewhere in the 40s or the 50s so that quarterbacks, when they drop back, they're a little fearful in the pocket. It might speed them up a little bit. It might make them overthrow or underthrow or get out of the pocket or what have you. If you're not doing that next season, you're toast. Now, I'm not saying they're going to lose a ton of games. I'm just saying they're going to get lit up in this conference. So I want to hear about a fierce, improved pass rush being developed this spring.
I am tweeting that Aaron says Oregon is toast and they are going to get lit up. Send.
Thank you.
Got it.
Well, the good news, everybody on Twitter always agrees with Aaron. Yeah, I guess I would say, if my opinion's ever worth anything here, curious, yes, about the offensive line. I'm with you, Joey. That was really a key reason why the Oregon offense clicked the way that it did last year. One of the most efficient offenses in the country is because Bo Nix never got sacked. And then I would say biggest storyline is, yes, it's spring and you don't get a lot of glimpses at it, but new offensive coordinator. Can that offensive coordinator work well with Bo Nix as far as getting that efficiency once again? Because you can improve in every other area, but if you don't have the same type of efficiency that you had last year offensively, well, as Aaron said, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in this conference because these are going to be a lot of shootouts throughout the rest of the season. You've got to be able to go toe-to-toe with some of these offenses. But it's spring ball. We'll get a little glimpse, and of course, that'll just give us enough of a tease as we get set for fall camp. All right, don't go anywhere. When we come back, more Talkin Ducks. We'll talk a little bit more about what we feel for this Oregon offense with Bo Nix and the future of the quarterback position after Nix leaves. We're just getting started on Talkin Ducks. You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Par Lumber. Welcome back to Talkin Ducks. We're going to continue our spring position breakdown brought to you by Abby's Legendary Pizza. And let's go ahead and take a look at the quarterback positioning here. Joey, you look at Bo Nix coming back for a second season, and
he's
now
good.
There's really no questions about whether or not he can play well for Oregon. It's at what level is he going to be at. What do you see for Bo Nix and how he might pair up with a new offensive coordinator, as Oregon now has their third coordinator in the last 3 years as a program as a whole?
I see Bo as good. How's that? I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, yes. He's the most experienced quarterback that have we ever had. This is technically his 6th year, right? He is married. He has been through the ups and downs of being the golden boy to being cast away at Auburn. He's gone completely across the country to reunite with an old coordinator, to then go make a run and work himself into Heisman Trophy discussions, only then to have a near season-ending injury, to decide to come back to a team in a city that, look, this guy's been through it. And I'm not at all worried about the third coordinator in 3 years. I'm not that's old hat for this guy, right? Bo showed last year who he is and what he can do. He came into a brand new team, a brand new coordinator, a brand new staff, and went out and was the immediate leader. So I don't worry at all about Bo's play, his performance, his leadership ability with a new offense and a new coordinator. That's old hat for a guy. You know, I think he's turning 38 next week, I think. So, you know, he and I are going to be filing for Social Security around the same time.
Wow.
All right. Well, that's the short term. But Aaron, really the long term has kind of always been the big question for Oregon over the last handful of seasons. I mean, other than Justin Herbert, when we saw what he could do as a freshman and you felt secure about the position for the next couple of years, it's kind of just been a revolving door since then. And sure, you get 2 years of Bo Nix, which nobody's going to complain about, but it comes back to who's next. And you would figure Ty Thompson would be that guy, but we haven't seen it yet from him. So what do you make about the future of this position for the Ducks?
Yeah, just real quick on Bo, 5th season, but he's the first 5th-year starter in the history of the program. They weren't all at Oregon, but he'll be the first quarterback to ever start 5 seasons, and some of them have been with Oregon. Anyway.
Good point. Okay, that's yes, gotcha.
So I mean, you talked about experience, right? Like, I mean, no one's ever been that experienced at that position.
Because he started as a true freshman.
Oregon. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna walk into the new playbook and be like, whatever. That won't even be a thing. But it could be a thing for Ty Thompson. We wonder because this will be his 3rd offense, And he has, as you said, Jordan, not really shown very much on the field yet. But the fact that he's still at Oregon, did not enter the transfer portal either on his own or get nudged out a little bit, sort of says that Lanning still believes there's something there worth developing. And he's coming in next as the backup. They didn't go out and get another transfer or anything like that. So he's your backup, and he's the heir apparent for 2024 right now. Now, Austin will have a chance to compete, obviously. But, I mean, unless he's the next Herbert, he probably is not going to be ready to start in 2024. Or who knows, he could surprise us all and maybe be as good as Marcus or was as a redshirt freshman. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. But it's all about Ty again for me. Last year, what I want to see from him is to just make the competition close. I don't think he really did, so that was sort of a setback. And then when he did play, he seemed shaky, and no one will ever forget fourth quarter against Washington, and they didn't let the guy even attempt to throw anything, not even a quick screen, right? It was like handoff, 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 field goal Washington, we're screwed. So you hope he gets to the point where they trust him to go out there and actually lead some drives and not just throw hitches and quick screens, but throw the ball downfield, throw some curls, some digs, some comebacks, some post corners, something to demonstrate that he can play at a high level. Otherwise, they're going to have to go out and get a transfer next year 100%. So I want to see a development from Ty to know that the future at that position is secured with a redshirt junior starter in 2024.
Anthony, any thoughts on this subject?
I want to go back to Bo Nix. From a coaching standpoint, well, I'll say this. From a high school state defensive coaching standpoint, here's my ring, by the way, just to let you know, our state ring.
Nice.
That to defend Bo Nix as a defensive coordinator, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. So when you talk about defense, you talk about advantages because the offense has the advantage. And as a defense, we got to try to get some advantages. And then it's become a numbers game, okay? And as we look at the offense, there's 10 guys on the field back in the day. We used to count 10 because we didn't count the quarterback. In today's game, you count the quarterback because he's doing a lot. Against Oregon, you better count the quarterback. He may be 12 guys on the field. He's that good. He can run and pass. So when now I try to defend Oregon's offense, I have to cover everyone. And that's a problem because now it becomes one-on-one matchups in space. I got to tackle a guy in space. I can't have two guys over there trying to tackle somebody. I need one because I need somebody to watch the quarterback. So defending Bo Nix in the offense, it's going to be hard for any defense. And then when you add a receiver core that Oregon has, some good receivers. Yes, they lost Chad Cota. He was a stud, but they got some other guys who can play. And you have a running game, guys who can run the football very well, along with Bo Nix as a running back. That is a killer for defense. If it's 3rd and 15 and you're in man coverage, you're covering guys, and you look up and you see this quarterback running down the field full speed, and he doesn't get the first down, he gets a touchdown, he takes it 60. So that creates a lot of problems. So Bo Nix, it's his team. He's the captain of this ship. Ty Thompson, I don't know how he's going to get reps. I mean, meaningful reps, I don't know. It's Bo Nix's team. And he has an offensive line that he's working with, but it's nice to have, Joey, you know this, it's nice to have a veteran quarterback leading this football team. Everybody else can be young, but you got your veteran quarterback leading this team. This offense is going to be tough to defend. Trust
Anthony,
me.
wait. Anthony, are you seeing anyone about these recurring nightmares you have about Steve Young and Randall Cunningham? Because it sounds like you have some unresolved issues with dealing with cats like that.
I don't want to chase somebody down the field, 30 yards and turn around and now here comes the quarterback running down the field. Now I got to leave my guy and go tackle the quarterback. No.
Hey, Anthony, who won the state high school football championship this year? I missed that part. I'm sorry.
Well, it was West Lynn.
Okay. God, I didn't see that at the beginning of this segment.
I just want to know, let you know, I got 5 state championship rings.
Oh my goodness, he's flashing the bling on it.
Bling.
Okay, Jordan.
Aaron, is he wearing them
just
right
to let
now?
you know.
Does he wear them on a daily basis? It's like,
he sleeps in them.
I just wear this one right now.
All right, well, we'll let Anthony collect some more bling, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll have a chance to catch up with Marcus Harper. He joins us for a couple of segments as we continue along on Talkin Ducks. You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Par Lumber. Welcome back. Time now for some excellence off the football field, brought to you by Ferguson Wellman. Ferguson Wellman, bringing you a disciplined approach to investing. Well, Marcus Harper, a wonderful personality, part of Oregon's offensive line that will have 4 new starters next season. Joey Harrington and I had a chance to catch up with the Duck to get his thoughts on this season, the offseason, and what that offensive line can do for next year. Well, joining us now, we had a chance to meet up at Signing Night Live, and he stole the show with his charisma and wowing the crowd. It's Marcus Harper on the Oregon Ducks offensive line. Clap it up for Marcus for joining us here. And how you doing, man? Thanks again for joining us. How's the offseason been treating you?
Man, it's going good. Appreciate y'all for having me, number one. Number two, it's been going good. Off season, it's always a grind, as everybody knows. We've been turning up in the weight room. We've been killing it, as we do per usual over here in Oregon land. No, it's been a great off season as far. I'm so excited for spring ball for sure.
And what's kind of the vibe with the team? Because we talk about how no matter what kind of bowl game you play in, if you close that out with a win, it really seems to change the entire offseason program. Do you guys get the sense that that win over North Carolina just gave you guys an extra lift over these last couple of dark months of lifting and conditioning and putting in all that dirty work?
Yeah, for sure. Whenever you have like a season where you end with a dub, like it's good. I don't care who it's against. Like ending the season with a dub is much needed. So it propelled us in a positive way going into the offseason. But the thing with this team, I know on the offensive side, like everybody from the O-line to like receivers, like those are core group and senior-oriented like people. So when you come back now and then it's like the O-line room basically just got swept out. Like I was the only one that started last year that came back. So the O-line room really got swept out, and so you got new faces. So it's really establishing a new identity in the offensive line room, but under the same umbrella of like the core principles that we got over here. So it's been new. It's been a good challenge, obviously, but that's kind of what the vibe has been. We got people like Bucky coming back. We got some staples. Basically, all of our defense is back, if I'm not mistaken. So we got that in our back pocket. But yeah, it's just a vibe. It's a new vibe at offensive line room. Everybody from Coach Clem leaving to bringing on Coach Terry, Coach Cav, and Coach Cutter. Like it's just been a new look offense. But I think with newness, it's the opportunity for you to grow. So I don't trip too much about it.
You know me. You know I ain't tripping about it.
Well, that was going to be my question there, Marcus. You got wide receivers coming back, you got running backs coming back, you got tight ends coming back, you got quarterback coming back. If you're looking at one position group on this offense, it's the offensive line. How did you come into the offseason? Like, was there something that you wanted to do? Did you want to establish yourself? Were you looking to, take more of a leadership role? What did your preparation coming into this offseason look like, knowing that, like you said, 4 of those guys next to you are gone?
Yeah. So for me, I really looked at it was like, okay, you're the only one that started on that line last year, and so you're the only one that's coming back. That doesn't mean that you negate anything that any of the other guys bring to the table from experience wise, but you know what it takes from anywhere from winter conditioning all the way through the season. So now you just naturally, like, you're the guy that people look up to, and like when stuff goes sideways or when stuff just everybody wants to look to have an answer, they naturally gonna look at me. Like, I knew it, I'm not gonna shy away from it. I really wanted to just establish myself as a leader, because I've seen people plenty of times, like, they lead one way with their mouth, but their actions show something different. I wanted to be consistent throughout and through, because not only is leadership what we need, just respect as well, just as a man. You know what I'm saying? You want respect. You don't want nobody to be like, hey, bro, like, you holding somebody else to a standard and then you drop it to yourself, So it was really pushing myself past standards and trying to bring everybody else up to the level that is needed to perform. Because you got to think, we have 12 games that are guaranteed. And we talk about playing in Pac-12 championships, playing in, college football playoffs, especially now with it expanding, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are games. So for me, it was really like, okay, now that you know what a full year prep is, going back to the film room and just, okay, what do we need to adjust? What do I need to adjust personally? What do I need to adjust in my game? And really the big thing I've learned lately is just that body maintenance, like everything from being in that treatment room, being married to the treatment room was a big key that, as an underclassman, you just don't know what you don't know. So I've been in that training room religiously, I want to say every single day, getting your body back, because, this game does take a wear and tear down. But I think for me, it was, like I said, just stepping into a leadership role and really just welcoming it, because a lot of people like just shy away from it. And I just couldn't do that. Now I couldn't do that for the guys that left the room, and I just couldn't do it for myself. Like in a selfish way, I just couldn't do that. So
yeah, Jordan, I know you're going here. I know you got a question, but
no,
hey,
you go ahead.
If you're living in the treatment room, Marcus, go to Chief. Okay.
Yeah.
Ask him for some emu oil. Okay.
I got you.
That's all you got to do. Just go ask him for some emu oil.
Joey uses that in his hair, actually. That's what keeps it looking so good. But, it's interesting, Marcus. What's it been like this offseason underneath year 2 with Lanning versus last year when I can't remember when he got hired exactly, but you got a brand new coach coming in. What's been the biggest difference for you guys with that, just having that continuity of a head coach?
Yeah. I mean, year 1, anybody, you're just trying to step in and just show what you show what you bring to the table. I don't care if you're a player, if you're a coach, you're just trying to prove yourself, right? So I think I can say for me personally, I was just trying to show like, hey, I know I didn't play with the old staff. Let me just come in and show you what I can do. Now that I know what it takes, what his standard is, with that standard of excellence that he has for us at a high regard, okay, how can we do it again and just be more consistent with it? Just not even as me, individually as offensive line, then we break that off into the offense, and then collectively as a team. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing that you look at now. Now that like, okay, under this system we got X result. Okay, with that, how can we go back, adjust it, go back to the drawing board, see what needs to be adjusted, and let's go attack it again. And I know people believe in Coach Lanning and the plan that he got for us going into this season. People just got to follow it and trust it, and also too, they got to put more into themselves than anybody else, because if you don't put those deposits in, I mean, we all know like it's going to show up on that field at some point in time. So just putting more daily deposits in, whether it's in your mentals, the physicals, there's aspect of the game. Like it's more than just physical. So we see it through and through the facilities, and so people just got to buy in and just lock in and just be consistent with it, because it's not just a facility thing; it's really a lifestyle that you got to live. And I think once people get more welcoming to like that being their lifestyle, it'll be much easier to translate on the field because you're doing the stuff that you do on an everyday basis. So,
we've talked a lot about the show about kind of the difference between a quarterback coming in and trying to, I won't say earn a job, but Bo last year versus a guy who's now established and coming into the offseason.
Yeah.
How do guys, or I should maybe just ask, do guys look at Bo differently this offseason versus last offseason? And if they do, like, how? Like, what's the difference between Bo then and Bo now?
I think watching him at Auburn, you just naturally like, I wonder what this guy's like on a daily basis, because you see him on TV, you just want to see what he's like up close and personal. So I'm like, is he real? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's kind of how people were last year, I believe. Like I'm gonna keep it 100%. I did not know that man was as fast as he was. I remember one time in practice, like, I'm being so serious. I'm not even gonna try to shout. I did not know that man can run that fast. We were doing something in drill and practice. This was early spring ball about a year ago. The man had a scramble drill and broke contain or whatever, and just took off for 20 yards. But it was so effortlessly. He was like he was gliding. I'm like, bro, like chill out. Like, we are in, like, chill. But I've never seen that. So and I think just coming into this year, people just like, okay, we know what he can do. Now let's just see. I'm looking at it for me, like, I don't want him to not make those plays, because those plays that he made last year continuously made him special. That made him the difference maker in our offense, just having that versatility for him to have such a big arm that he has, to be able to use his legs when needed. So that's kind of what people look at it. It's like, okay, can we do it again? But I mean, for me, I'm just like, none of that stuff happens without people being up front. So that's how come I'm like, man, I don't want to go from Bo being this sporadic, flashy quarterback to now, the reason he's not that is because, he doesn't have the offensive line he's had the year before. So I'm like, I just take that upon me, because I'm like, I want that man to be clean. I'm like insurance, you can call on me, we just want to be some great insurance for Mr. Nix. So yeah.
Well, as you can tell, Marcus is really good, and he loves to talk, which we love here at Talkin Ducks. So we'll have a second segment, more Marcus Harper, when we come back from the break. You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Par Lumber. Welcome back. Time now for What's Cooking, brought to you by Sam's Northwest BBQ, located southwest of Portland in Sherwood, Oregon. Your home for Yoder smoker products and so much more. Make sure you visit Sam's Northwest BBQ. And speaking of food, we talked to Marcus Harper and asked him, what is the key to a diet for an offensive lineman trying to strive for their greatest?
All right, so you come from Illinois, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you come all the way across the country.
Yes, sir.
Place you don't, yeah, sure, you took your recruiting trips, but I know I went from Oregon to Detroit, right? It's completely different, okay?
Oh, yeah.
You show up here day one. Is this your personality? Like, that's what's so interesting is like on a team is you got so many different guys, right? And when we're talking to you 3 years into this, when you showed up day one, was this Marcus? Like, was this what the team got?
The team didn't get it off the field. Everybody got it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. I think that's where I was trying to find that, what worked for me from a routine standpoint, because I like being like this on the field and off. I don't like just everybody. Hey, look, whenever everybody, I'm on the field, stop that. Stop lying to yourself. You don't stop, unscrunch your face. Your face does not need to be all mean, but like this game, this is a child's game. Like, let's have fun with it, So this personality, this is off the field for sure. It's worse. I mean, you got to call my mom. Like, conversations with my mom, honestly, she gets it the worst. I'm not even going to try to front. She gets it worse. But just with people just not knowing who I was, I really wasn't this big high school recruit coming out. I really just tried to come in and work. People just catch my work ethic first. Then when they caught the work ethic, now you get a sprinkle of personality here, a couple of jokes here and there. You get a dash, a trash talking once every blue moon. So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna just lead with personality or friend. If you like the personality, you'll like the work ethic as well. That's what I'm gonna start doing. Thanks for that. Yeah.
What do you make about Eugene as a college town? Because one thing we've always tried to tell recruits in our position is that you're gonna be hard pressed to find a place that your football program is the big ticket, plus the combination of facilities that you're gonna have. Like, you really don't have to share the stage with anything else. How have you enjoyed your time in Eugene and just the life of a student athlete in Eugene, where you are in a bit of a small pond as a big fish and the spotlight's on you? And for some guys, that's hard. For others, they love that. So what's that experience been like for you?
Just coming from a big town, being in Chicago, coming out to Eugene was for sure a culture shock in terms of.
What was the most shocking thing that first caught you off guard and said,
the amount of trees that is out here in Eugene is ridiculous. Oh my goodness. There's not a power line. There's it's no street lights. I don't know how y'all see at night. Y'all just gonna put the flashlight on. I don't know how y'all see at night. I don't know how y'all do it or why y'all do it. But that was those two things. And then, sorry, the lack of Chick-fil-A that's in Eugene. I'm so sorry. Listen, the lack of Chick-fil-A.
Hey, Joey, I'm smelling a franchising opportunity here.
You hear me? Do you hear me? At Chick-fil-A, if you hear this, Big Mark would like to put together something with you all in Eugene. Let's get it done. But yeah, I think just
NIL deal. There you go.
New NIL deal. Look, big boys are people too. But it was just the lack of it was just the newness of there was more nature than anything else, number one. And then just the food franchises that I'm normally accustomed to in Chicago, I can go right around the corner, grab me some Chick-fil-A, some Harold's Chicken, Popeyes, and call it one, some Wendy's. And Eugene is 10 minutes east, it's 10 minutes west, 10 minutes south to get to the nearest, McDonald's, no, but I'm joking. But just that little thing, it's a lot more mom and pop shops. But it's Eugene, so what you see is what you get. So
you said big boys, what was it? Big boys are people too.
Big boys are people too.
Yeah. Okay, but no, look, you come onto the Zoom, right? You pop on here and you framed up in there. I'm gonna be honest, okay? I looked at you, I was like, tight end is maybe like a thick wide out.
Yeah.
Have you always been that big physical guy? Because you carry it well, right? Is this something, I know a lot of guys that I played with had to, they came out of high school and they had to put on 40, 50 pounds to be able to play Pac-12 football. What has that workout regiment been like for you, and how do you take care of your body? You've mentioned it a little bit. Go emu oil with Chief.
Yeah. Emu oil for Chief for sure is a key essential to Big Mark just holding his weight so well. No, when I'm gonna do a quick backstory and quick synopsis. I was a bigger kid growing up, really wasn't the most athletic. I'm gonna do a shout out. Sean T's Insanity Asylum fitness program is kind of what changed the trajectory in my athleticism.
Are you talking about the one with the DVDs?
Absolutely. Listen, you're laughing. I'm so serious. I was 7th grade going in 8th grade. 7th grade year, I was a basketball manager. 8th grade year, wanted to make the team. I knew for sure I had to just change my conditioning. Sean T's Insanity Asylum at home workout fitness, 30 days. Your boy did it. I was like 12 or 13 years old. So that was kind of the foundation. But mind you, I didn't know nothing about football. I wasn't playing football at the point. So fast forward years later, just that natural athleticism has just always just been a staple of my game. And now coming into college, you come in, I was always been like 315, 320, but it was just more body fat. So over the years, it's like, okay, just looking at just NFL guys, it's like, okay, they're all like the numbers are lower than mine. You see NFL linemen 305, 3 whatever. But like they're not these big thick people or whatever. It just depends on how you look at what conference you're in. Really, it's just my diet. I'm gonna be so real with you. And over this last offseason, I really just taking care of my diet, trying to trim my body fat percentage down a lot more. I carry some fluid with me religiously. I'm drinking. I got some drip drop in this thing right now. Is everything is doing those small like deposits of information. Listen, I'm telling you, the stuff worked. But just keeping mobility, and the stuff just works and it shreds off. We got a great fitness program here with Coach Love. Your boy be boxing here and there. I don't know if y'all have seen the Instagram. The boy be boxing. You know what I'm saying? A little 1-2. Listen, Creed 4, Big Mark, and Creed 4 or 5. It's just putting those deposits in. I'm telling you, they make the biggest of differences on Saturday. So that's what I've just honed into. And then too, I've just listened to a bunch of interviews with like all these NFL guys. There's something in there that I got to take away. Like Aaron Donald was just talking about it last night. The man spends at least $1 million on his body. Well, if I'd be dumb, if I heard that information and I didn't apply some small deposit of it in my daily lifestyle, because is that not where I want to be? Yeah. So let's put some actions to the stuff I'll be talking. So, that's a little backstory on Big Mark and how I think real quick.
So it's a good thing that there aren't Chick-fil-A's in Eugene, then, it sounds like.
Yes, there is a great thing.
Scratch that NIL deal. Never mind.
Marcus, no. Listen, we can just consider we just gotta listen. Okay, we're gonna do an NIL deal. Jersey Mike, the Jersey Mike's right across the street from Taylor's. Jersey Mike, yes, you guys are beloved in Big Mark's stomach. So,
as you guys look at next season, and you guys are getting ready and getting back to football and everything, what's the biggest question mark for this team, in your opinion? As you're in the locker room, you're on both sides of the ball. Like, if you could say, I wish I knew the answer to this, or I wish I knew this group or this part of the team was going to look like this, what would it be?
We always got to be consistent, and that's in everybody from everybody all around. If you're gonna be who you are, just be consistent as you can be. I ain't saying you got to be perfect. Just be consistent, and that's the name of the game. Whatever we gonna do, whether that's this football deal, whether that's the TV personality, whatever, just consistency. I think once you build just consistency, routines, whatever, I think that's where you'll find most success in that. And just work. We just gotta work. And I know that's such a cliche. Oh, everybody works, but like I'm talking about like really work. No, because listen, you work and you do everything else everybody does. Shut up. That's not working. You are talking. Just work. But I'm being so serious. Like work. Just be curious. Becoming obsessive about it. And I think when we get people to like make that a lifestyle choice, then that's when we'll start to take these next steps. But I think we try to flip on that switch too many times. Like, okay, we can flip it on. And trust me, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not even gonna try to sit here and act like, oh, I'm this big perfect guy. I do kale and emu oil all 24. I'm not sitting here doing that. But what I am saying though is just try to be the most consistent person you can on an everyday basis. And I think when you do that, you'll start to love the results a lot more. And also too, you're gonna have to sacrifice. You're not gonna be able to obtain this lifestyle that you think that you want and still try to do certain things that you can do. You know what I'm saying? It's a sacrifice that comes with this lifestyle. Just listen to the great. If you listen to the greats, all of them sacrifice whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure people would love to keep an extra $1 million in their bank if they didn't have to spend on their body maintenance, but it costs what it costs. So I think once we get people to start realizing that it's not just I can turn it on, turn it off. It's a lifestyle. I think the Ducks, the 2020, what's this, 2023, 2024, whatever year we're in.
2023. Yeah.
2023. 2023 Ducks will be in great tip-top shape for the foreseeable future. So
awesome. Well, Marcus, thanks again for your time, man. It's great catching up with you. We'll get you on again as you guys get through spring ball, but best of luck with the off-season conditioning and good luck with spring balls. It's right around the corner, all right?
Appreciate y'all boys for having your boy on the interview today.
All right, great stuff from Marcus, and we'll continue to catch up with him as the Ducks progress through spring ball and the season. But when we come back, Kelly Graves will join us and talk a little bit more about the Oregon women's basketball team, some of the adversity they faced, and their thoughts on playing in the women's NIT. We'll have that when we come back on Talkin Ducks. You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Par Lumber. Welcome back to Talkin Ducks. Time now for our rock solid pick, brought to you by Milan Stoneworks, bringing you the finest stoneworks in all the Northwest. And, well, listen, here's the deal. Both men and women for Oregon are in the NIT. For the men, they play literally right as this show is being fed to our good friends at Root Sports. And so we'll give you an update on how they do next week. But for the women, we'll have a chance to hear how they do in their home opener in the women's NIT. We had a chance to catch up with Kelly Graves. Here's what the head coach had to say. Well, Coach, thanks again for joining us. And I know a little bit of disappointment with the team as you look at missing out on the NCAA tournament and being part of that first four out. We were having a conversation before we hopped on here. You learned a couple of things about how to maybe manage the schedule. I mean, what was your takeaway basically from the committee saying that you guys were in the first four out?
Well, first of all, Jordan, I'm not going to be one of those coaches that complains and said, hey, we should have been in, as the 68th team. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do that. We had plenty of chances throughout the conference season, to win our way in. We played a ton of close games. I think we had 6 or 7 of our losses. Those games were either tied or we were ahead with 3 minutes to go. Mm-hmm. So we didn't make the plays when we needed to. And so we were left out. The one thing that has my head, scratching my head is our net rating. I mean, we were 19th in the country, and some of the last 4 that they let in, they had nets of 60. Wow. And, net is the tool created by the NCAA mm-hmm. For this time of year to make it, to give those teams it gives you a better analysis of where the teams are really at. And mm-hmm. I don't know if they've ever left a team that high out of the NCAA tournament. But that being said, we're disappointed, but we still have a chance to play.
Yeah, and speaking of that chance to play, you've got a young team. The season continues. You're a number 1 seed in the women's NIT, and then you get another home game. Is your team excited for the opportunity?
Yeah, I think so. They took it pretty hard on Selection Sunday. We were disappointed. They were disappointed. Yesterday's practice wasn't great. Today's was a little bit better. But we have a chance to play. And I just told them, listen, the teams that do well in this tournament are the ones that are excited to be there and want to play. Those that feel like they were slighted or whatever, they don't go in with the proper mindset, are the ones that get beat. So, and then we play Friday night, or if we're fortunate enough to win, our next game would be maybe a Tuesday the following week. And I told the team by that Tuesday, 52 of the 68 teams in the NCAA tournament are already out, mm-hmm. and we would still be playing. And I think after you start to win a game or two, you start to forget what tournament you're in. You just are excited that you can keep playing. So hopefully we'll have the right mindset when the ball is tipped on Friday, because North Dakota State's going to be a good test for us.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fact that they're going to be a good test. And how important is it for this young team to continue to play more basketball and high-level basketball, mind you, where you still have them in that season mindset where there is such an opportunity to watch film and coach and teach and really help them improve?
Yeah, I've always felt, my second year here, we made that long run in the preseason NIT, or the postseason WNIT. And I thought that really helped us, then that next year. Lexi Bando, Maite Cazorla, those players, Jacinta Vandenberg, got great experience in that year. So that the next year when Ruthie and Sabrina and that crew rolled in, we had postseason experience. So yeah, our young team, this will hopefully help propel us for next year. These are valuable games, valuable minutes, valuable practices, a valuable mindset, to learn from, and so that next year we don't repeat this. We put ourselves into a position where we're going to be playing in the NCAA tournament.
Kelly, you take a snapshot of the program, and as you mentioned, it's the first time you guys have missed out on the tournament since 2016. But I sit here and I look at, number one, all the transfers that you had to deal with last year that left suddenly without much notification prior to that. And then you deal with a injury to Sedona this year, a huge piece of the puzzle. And you still have yourself in the situation where you're 19 in the net, and in my opinion, should have gotten in. When you look at some of those teams in the 60s that get in, even though it's not the NCAA tournament, and you had youth play so much this year, where do you see this program right now as it gets set for the next stage of its iteration after this season that you just had?
Well, I'm really proud of the team this year. I mean, I thought we played hard. We gave it everything that we had. We just fell short on certain nights. We just never really put it together when we needed to, both ends of the floor. But our program is in a healthy spot. Yeah, I think those transfers last year hurt. Finally kind of caught up with us. But, we're still recruiting really, really good people, really good players. Our culture is set. We get great fan support. I think we're in a good spot. We just, hit a little lull this year. And boy, if making the NIT is hitting a lull, as a 1 seed, then, this is the low point, then we've got it pretty good.
Yeah.
So, we just hope that we can learn from this, get better next year. We're probably going to have to hit the portal again, just based on our numbers. And but I like where we're at. I really do. And the attitudes here are still really, really good.
I love talking to every coach after a season and asking them, what have you learned? And while you guys still have some more basketball to be played, what did you learn as a coach after this year, just as you evaluate everything?
To never take anything for granted. And just when you think you've got, you got it licked, it'll step up and bite you. I don't know if you're a golfer, Jordan, but, and we've all had those rounds where we play really, really well. And you go, yeah, we we got this figured out. And the next round, the golf gods come back at you. And
I know all about that, Kelly. Trust me.
Yeah, we were kind of in that position. We've had it really, really good. I mean, you look at the run we've had over the last 6 or 7 years; it's incredible. Yeah. Put us in the among the elite programs in the country, and we still recruited well, and we had some good players this year, but good health. We didn't have that this year, and you just gotta keep grinding each and every day. You can't just think, oh yeah, we got this figured out, we got the program where we want it. You got to continue to work really hard and trying to make your own breaks. So that's the one thing that I learned. But also, in these times of adversity, and I say adversity, it's all relative, right?
Right.
You rely on those that you're really close with. You rely on your staff, your key players, and they're the ones that help you through these kind of times.
Well, Kelly, it's great catching up with you. Best of luck in the women's NIT coming up here, and here's hoping that the next round of golf or season goes even better than the previous one. But I appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate you always having me. Thanks, Jordan.
All right, great stuff from Kelly Graves. Don't go anywhere. Before we close up shop, a special message from Joey Harrington and how you can help out a great cause. You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Par Lumber. Welcome back to Talkin Ducks, getting set to close up shop here. But Joey Harrington, you're here for a really good cause, and you've been pretty busy and active on Twitter lately for your Harrington Family Foundation. What do you have going on right now? What's the deal?
Well, I would hope I'm actually here for my job.
Yeah,
not
that
just
too.
for
Yes.
You know, I'm here most weeks. You know, and I'm not sure if you knew, but I'm actually a social media influencer
Yes,
now.
you
You know,
are.
that's
Yeah,
my side
yeah.
gig, like most Gen Z. Anyway, no, we're running a raffle, a fundraiser for the Harrington Family Foundation, our scholarship program, a community leadership scholarship where we award 4-year scholarships to graduating seniors from around the state of Oregon based on community leadership and financial need. And then we connect them with mentors to help open doors, help provide access. One of our first mentors from this program was Tinker Hatfield. And while he was, you know, pretty busy doing other things, he has since come back around and designed us a pair of Jordan 1s, Harrington Family Foundation. There you go, Aaron.
Look at that.
You know, foundation colors, a little green and gray with the foundation logo on the tongue. And there's only 5 pair of those. 5 pair in the entire world. Like, I'm saying not even DJ Khaled's got
So
those.
these would be very valuable for whomever was able to get
Exactly. And then I was like, what do I do with that? Well, 2 months ago, he knocked on the door and said, hey, this is what we just did for the Oregon football team. And I signed one of them, and why don't you use that for the foundation to raise some money for your scholarship? I said,
that's awesome.
Bingo. So we're selling $25 raffle tickets for both pair of limited edition Oregon PE Jordan 14 signed by Tinker, and then one of 5 pair in the world of the Harrington Family Foundation Jordan 1s. It's not an auction. Nobody has to outbid Aaron because I know he's going to bid. You know, if we did, he'd bid like $20,000.
I bid my address.
You know, it's $25 raffle ticket, and everybody can purchase and help the next generation of leaders in the state of Oregon. Which, you know, we reach the entire state, and I don't know. We're 10 years into this program, and to be able to do something fun like this, and you know, get Aaron a new pair of shoes because you know if he's doing the NBA beat, he's got to look fresh.
He's got to look clean. He's around some money. He's got to look clean. So, Joey, why don't you tell us where folks can go to go ahead and get those raffle tickets?
Yeah, so you can go harringtonfamilyfoundation.org. We have the link on there. Or like you said, Jordan, I've become a social media influencer. And so I'm tweeting like crazy, and you can find me on Twitter. And now apparently Aaron's going to be sending this out, and you're going to be sending it out because I signed you guys up to be
Co-influencers.
independent contractors. Yeah,
Yes.
you're marketing agents for me now.
Yeah,
So
we're big time like that. So
you can find it on your Twitter as well. But yeah, just go on and help some great students who are really deserving of, frankly, of a community, of access, right? Everybody needs a little bit of help every once in a while. And you know what? You might win some shoes that nobody else in the world has.
Yeah, well, I love it. Well, thanks again, man. It's an awesome cause. And yes, make sure you go there, get those raffle tickets, a chance to win something pretty special, something pretty rare. That'll do it for this edition of Talkin Ducks. Next week, we'll have more position updates for spring ball as it's just around the corner for Oregon football, and an update on any basketball postseason action. From all of us here, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.